this course is Chapter 2 of the textbook, which is supply and demand. This is just going to be a recap of things that you've probably seen before. So a quick outline of this chapter is that we're first going to look at demand, which is an understanding of how consumers behave in response to prices. We're going to look at then supply, which is the counterpart of demand, but for producers. So it tells us how much a seller is willing to sell at any given price. Then we're going to look at market equilibrium, which is the interaction between supply and demand. The next thing we're going to look at is comparative statics. This is largely the exercise that economists tend to engage in, which is understanding what the effect of policy changes would have on the market or on the outcomes that we're interested in, given the environment that we're working with. So we've got a model that we're going to be working with, which describes supply and demand, and we want to understand how small changes to the environment will affect the market equilibrium or the outcome that we're interested in. And that's what we call comparative statics. The next thing we're going to look at is elasticity, which is a handy description of supply or demand. And in particular, it describes certain features of supply and demand which allow us to then say things about comparative statics. We're going to then use those tools that we've developed to look at an example policy, so a sales tax, and evaluate the effects of a sales tax. And then we'll look at some examples where supply doesn't equal demand, right? So market equilibrium, which I listed on the previous slide, is where supply equals demand. And so what we're going to do is look at just a couple of instances where supply doesn't necessarily equal demand. So what happens, why would that happen, and what does that mean? And finally, we'll look at we'll try to develop an understanding of when to and when not to use this model.